Welcome back to our channel, Rare Coins Collection, where we explore the fascinating world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're diving into a real gem from the past, the United States silver 1 dime from 1937. This seemingly humble coin might just be sitting in your collection or even in your change jar, waiting to surprise you with its true value, but don't let its small size fool you. This 1937 silver dime could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, if you're curious to learn how much this classic coin could be worth, keep watching, because the price just might surprise you. Stay tuned until the end to discover how much a single 1937 dime can fetch today. Let's start by stepping back into the 1930s, a pivotal time in U.S. history. The 1937 dime was minted during the Great Depression, a time when the U.S. economy was facing one of its toughest challenges. The economy was in turmoil, unemployment was high, and the country was trying to recover from the stock market crash of 1929. But despite these challenges, the U.S. Mint continued to produce coins, and the Mercury dime was one of them. The 1937 dime is part of the famous Mercury dime series, which was designed by Adolph A. Weinman. These dimes were first introduced in 1916 and were struck until 1945. The design features Lady Liberty, often mistaken for the Roman god Mercury due to her winged cap, symbolizing freedom and the idea of liberty in motion. The Mercury dime quickly became beloved by the American public and is still one of the most recognized coins in U.S. history. But while these dimes were widely circulated, many of them have been lost or worn out over the years, making well-preserved versions, especially from 1937, rare and valuable. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1937 dime. On the obverse side, we have the portrait of Lady Liberty, as mentioned before, with her iconic winged cap. The cap is meant to symbolize freedom of thought and the pursuit of liberty. Many collectors mistakenly believe that Lady Liberty represents Mercury, the Roman god of commerce, but she's actually just a personification of liberty herself. This elegant design is surrounded by the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year 1937. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see a fasces, a bundle of rods with an axe, symbolizing strength through unity. The fasces was used as a symbol of authority in ancient Rome and represents the strength of the American government. Above the fasces, you'll find the words, United States of America, and at the bottom, 1 dime. The coin's reverse design is simple yet powerful, and it perfectly complements the freedom-oriented symbolism of the obverse. The Mercury dime design is not only historically significant but also visually stunning, making it a favorite among collectors. Its beauty, paired with its relatively short production period, makes this coin particularly desirable. So, what makes the 1937 silver dime so valuable? Well, it comes down to rarity, condition, and a few special features that can make certain versions of the coin worth much more than others. While the Mercury dime series was produced for nearly 3 decades, many of these dimes were used heavily in everyday transactions, causing them to become worn and tarnished over time. Coins that were circulated often lose their fine details, and the condition deteriorates. As a result, dimes from 1937 that are still in excellent condition are extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. But condition isn't the only factor that determines the value of a 1937 dime. Some versions of the coin feature minting errors, which can make them even more valuable. Minting errors are mistakes made during the production of the coin, and these can include things like off-center strikes, double dies, or misplaced mint marks. Error coins are prized by collectors because they're unique. No 2 error coins are the same. So, if you happen to find a 1937 dime with one of these rare minting errors, you could have a small fortune on your hands. So, what should you be looking for when evaluating a 1937 silver dime? Here are some of the key factors that could make this coin more valuable. Uncirculated condition. The higher the grade or condition, the more valuable the coin. A mint-state 1937 dime that has been carefully stored and preserved could fetch a much higher price than a heavily circulated one. These coins have minimal wear and retain all the fine details of the design. Minting errors. As with any coin, errors can significantly increase the value. Look for off-center strikes where the design is misaligned, or double die errors where the image appears doubled, particularly on the date or inscriptions. These errors are rare and sought after by serious collectors. Die cracks or chips. Another unique feature that can make a 1937 dime valuable is die cracks or chips. These are caused by damage to the minting dies, which result in visible imperfections on the coins. While these flaws may seem minor, they can actually increase the coin's value because they are so rare. Low mintage variants. While the 1937 dime was produced in large numbers, some versions have lower mintages than others, which can make them more desirable to collectors. Certain mint marks or special features can indicate a rarer version of the coin, and these can command higher prices. Now, here's the moment you've been waiting for. How much could your 1937 silver dime be worth? If you've got a 1937 dime that's in mint condition, or if you happen to have one with a rare minting error or unique feature, you could be sitting on a coin worth as much as $64,000. Yes, you heard that right, $64,000 for a single dime. It's amazing to think that something as small as a dime, which you might overlook in your pocket, could actually hold such immense value. So, if you find yourself holding onto a 1937 silver dime, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. It might just be a hidden treasure. So, there you have it. The 1937 silver dime may look like a small and simple coin, but it can be worth far more than its face value, $64,000 in some cases. If you find one in excellent condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, you could be holding a valuable piece of American history. Today, we're shining the spotlight on a true treasure from the past, the United States silver 1 dime from 1942. This iconic coin might look like just another dime at first glance, but wait until you hear what makes it so special. While the 1942 silver dime may seem like a regular part of U.S. currency, it holds incredible historical and collector value. In fact, a single 1942 dime could be worth far more than its face value, and the price will leave you speechless. So, if you've got a 1942 silver dime lying around, stick with us until the end to find out just how much this coin could be worth today. Let's step back in time to the year 1942. The United States was in the midst of World War II, a time when the country was focused on supporting the war effort both at home and abroad. The U.S. Mint was busy producing coins to meet the needs of an economy at war, and the 1942 dime is part of this wartime production. The 1942 dime is part of the Mercury dime series, which was minted from 1916 to 1945. This series was designed by Adolph A. Weinman, and its design has become one of the most beloved and iconic in U.S. coinage history. The Mercury dime is named after the Roman god Mercury, who is depicted wearing a winged cap, often mistaken for Lady Liberty, but in fact, the design represents freedom and the spirit of liberty in motion. The 1942 dime is particularly interesting for collectors because of the historical context in which it was minted. During World War II, the U.S. Mint was forced to make some adjustments to the materials used in coin production, leading to a few unique features that make certain 1942 dimes more valuable than others. Now, let's take a closer look at the design of the 1942 Mercury dime. On the obverse, you'll see the portrait of Lady Liberty, or Mercury, wearing her winged cap, symbolizing freedom and the movement of liberty. Surrounding her, the words "Liberty" and the phrase "In God We Trust" are inscribed, with the year 1942 marking the date of issue. On the reverse side, you'll find a design featuring a fasces, a bundle of rods with an axe, symbolizing strength through unity. This design represents the strength of the American government, and it also includes an olive branch, symbolizing peace. The words "United States of America" and "1 dime" are also inscribed on this side of the coin. This powerful symbolism not only represents American ideals of freedom and unity but also reflects the mood of the nation during World War II, standing strong in the face of adversity and striving for peace. So, why is the 1942 silver dime so valuable? As with many rare coins, it comes down to factors like rarity, condition, and any minting errors that might have occurred during production. While the 1942 dime was minted in relatively large quantities, many of them were heavily circulated, and over time, they've become worn down and damaged. A well-preserved dime from this year is hard to find, which makes coins in excellent condition highly sought after by collectors, but the real story here lies in the unique features that some 1942 dimes have. This year's dimes were struck using a mixture of silver and copper. In fact, many of the Mercury dimes produced during 1942 were made from 90% silver. However, in the second half of the year, due to the war and the need for more copper for ammunition, the composition of the dime was changed, and many of the later-dated 1942 dimes were made with a mix of silver and copper. This slight change in composition makes early 1942 silver dimes more desirable to collectors. Additionally, some 1942 dimes have minting errors that can make them even more valuable. These errors can include double die strikes, misaligned dies, or even off-center strikes, all of which can make a 1942 dime a rare and unique find. So, what should you be on the lookout for when searching through your collection or trying to spot a valuable 1942 silver dime? Here are a few features that could make this coin worth a lot more than its face value. Uncirculated condition. A 1942 dime that has been kept in mint condition, meaning it hasn't been circulated or damaged, can be worth much more than a typical dime. These dimes retain all their original details and shine, making them highly valuable to collectors. Minting errors. If you come across a 1942 Mercury dime with any kind of minting error, you might have found a small fortune. The most valuable of these errors include double die obverse, where the design appears to be doubled, or off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. Silver composition. Dimes minted earlier in 1942 were made with 90% silver, making them more valuable than later 1942 dimes that were struck with a copper-silver alloy. If your dime is composed of 90% silver, it's likely to be worth more to collectors. Low mintage variants. Some 1942 dimes were produced in smaller quantities than others, especially those from certain mint marks. These low mintage versions are rarer and can command higher prices in the market. Now, here's the big moment. If you've got a 1942 silver dime that's in excellent condition, or if it has a rare minting error, you could be holding on to something truly valuable. A high-quality 1942 dime, especially one with a unique error or a low mintage variant, can be worth an incredible $61,000. Yes, you heard it correctly, $61,000 for a single 1942 dime. It's amazing to think that such a small coin, once used in everyday transactions, could now be worth such a huge sum. But that's the world of rare coins. Sometimes, the most unassuming coins can hide incredible value. So, the next time you come across a 1942 silver dime, make sure to take a closer look. It could be in perfect condition or have a rare minting error that makes it worth thousands of dollars. $61,000 for a single dime is no small amount, and you could be holding a piece of history in your hands. Today, we've got something truly special in store for you, a coin that represents the end of an era and a significant moment in U.S. history. We're talking about the United States silver 1 dime from 1945. This dime might seem like a small piece of currency, but don't let its size fool you. The 1945 silver dime is not just a part of American history, it's also a collector's dream. If you've got one of these coins in your collection or come across one in your change, stick around until the end to find out just how much this 1945 silver dime could be worth today. Let's go back in time to 1945, a year that marked the end of World War II and a turning point in global history. The 1945 silver dime was minted during a very significant moment in American history, as the war had just ended and the world was beginning to rebuild. At this time, the United States was still in the process of recovering from the toll of the war, and this coin represents the last year of the Mercury dime series, which was produced from 1916 to 1945. The Mercury dime was designed by Adolph A. Weinman, and it quickly became one of the most beloved and iconic designs in U.S. coinage. The coin features the figure of Lady Liberty, often mistakenly thought to represent Mercury, the Roman god of commerce, but in fact, it's an allegorical personification of Liberty herself, with a winged cap to symbolize freedom. The 1945 silver dime marks the final year of this legendary coin, making it especially significant for collectors. As the United States was transitioning from a wartime economy to a peacetime one, the design of the dime would be replaced with the Roosevelt dime the following year. That means the 1945 Mercury dime is the last of its kind, a true piece of American history. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1945 silver dime. On the obverse, you'll see the portrait of Lady Liberty, depicted with her iconic winged cap. The cap represents freedom, movement, and the pursuit of liberty. The inscription around the image reads, "Liberty," and the phrase, "In God We Trust," is displayed, along with the year 1945. On the reverse, you'll find the image of a fasces, a bundle of rods with an axe, representing strength through unity and the power of the American government. Above the fasces is an olive branch, symbolizing peace, which was particularly meaningful in the context of the end of World War II. Beneath the fasces, you'll see the words United States of America, and at the bottom, the coin is marked with 1 dime. This combination of symbols, freedom, unity, and peace, makes the 1945 silver dime a powerful representation of the American spirit at the close of a world-changing era. So, what makes the 1945 silver dime so valuable? The answer lies in its rarity, historical significance, and the fact that it was produced at the end of the Mercury dime series. While the Mercury dime series was minted for nearly 3 decades, many of the coins produced in the 1940s were heavily circulated, which means most of them were used in everyday transactions and became worn down over time. Finding a 1945 silver dime in excellent condition, especially in mint state, is extremely rare, and that's what makes it so highly sought after by collectors. In fact, only a small percentage of the 1945 dimes were kept in great condition, making those in pristine or uncirculated state incredibly valuable. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these rare, well-preserved coins, and a well-graded 1945 dime could be worth much more than you might think. So, what should you look for if you're hunting for a valuable 1945 silver dime? There are several key factors that can make this coin worth a significant amount more than its face value. Uncirculated condition: the better the condition, the higher the value. A mint-state 1945 silver dime is a real gem. These coins have minimal to no wear, retaining all the fine details and shiny finish of a freshly minted coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin becomes. Minting errors: as with any rare coin, minting errors can significantly increase its value. Common errors include double die strikes, where the coin's design is duplicated, or off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. These errors are rare and make a coin stand out in a collector's collection. Die cracks or chips: sometimes, coins are struck with damaged dies, leading to visible imperfections. These die cracks or die chips can make a coin more unique and increase its appeal to collectors looking for something special. Low mintage variants: while the 1945 Mercury dime was minted in large numbers, there are some low mintage variants that are more rare and thus more valuable. Certain mint marks or specific production issues can make certain dimes from 1945 stand out from the rest. Now, for the big reveal: just how much can a 1945 silver dime be worth? If you've got a high-quality or uncirculated example of this coin, or even a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a treasure worth an incredible $58,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $58,000 for a single 1945 silver dime. It's amazing how something as small and seemingly ordinary as a dime can hold such massive value. But that's the beauty of the coin collecting world. Sometimes, the most unassuming coins can be worth an absolute fortune. So, if you happen to find a 1945 silver dime tucked away in your collection or buried in your spare change, it could be your lucky day. It might just be worth $58,000, especially if it's in mint condition or has a rare minting error. Today, we've got something that might surprise you: the United States silver 1 dime from 1974. Now, you might be thinking, a 1974 dime? That's not all that old. But trust me, this coin holds secrets that could make it worth much more than its face value. In today's video, we'll explore why the 1974 silver dime is so highly sought after by collectors, and why it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Stick around, because at the end of this video, we'll reveal exactly how much a 1974 silver dime could be worth in today's market. You won't believe it. let's take a trip back to 1974, a year that was pivotal in American history. The country was going through some major social and political changes, including the tail end of the Vietnam War and the resignation of President Richard Nixon after the Watergate scandal. But while all this was happening, the U.S. Mint was busy producing coins, including the 1974 silver dime. You might be surprised to learn that 1974 dimes were actually not made of pure silver, they were primarily composed of copper-nickel. This is because the U.S. government had already stopped producing silver coins for general circulation a few years earlier, with the 1964 silver coin melt marking the end of widespread silver coinage. However, there's still a special catch when it comes to the 1974 silver dime, and it's this special detail that has collectors excited. Before we get into the value of the 1974 dime, it's important to understand its place in the history of U.S. dimes. The Mercury dime series, which ran from 1916 to 1945, is one of the most iconic designs in American coinage history. It's known for its winged cap on Lady Liberty, symbolizing freedom in motion. However, after 1945, the Mercury dime was replaced by the Roosevelt dime, which has been minted ever since. The 1974 silver dime falls into the era of the Roosevelt dime, and while it's not silver like its predecessors, it carries its own history. By 1974, the design had evolved to include a more modern, simplified portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt's image is featured on the obverse of the coin, and on the reverse, you'll find a classic design of a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, representing freedom, peace, and strength. Let's take a closer look at the design of the 1974 silver dime. On the obverse, we see the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, facing left. Roosevelt is a revered figure in American history, having led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His likeness on the dime was chosen because of his leadership and contributions to the country. Surrounding his image, we find the words, "Liberty," and, "In God We Trust," along with the year of issue, 1974. On the reverse, the coin displays a symbol of American strength and unity, a torch, with an olive branch and an oak branch on either side. The torch symbolizes freedom and the power of the people, while the olive branch represents peace, and the oak branch represents strength and security. The word "one dime" is also inscribed on the reverse, marking the denomination of the coin. This timeless design is part of what has made the 1974 Roosevelt dime such a beloved and enduring coin for collectors. You might be wondering, if the 1974 dime is made of copper-nickel and not silver, why is it considered valuable? The answer lies in a few key factors: rarity, condition, and collector interest. While 1974 dimes were widely circulated, the vast majority of these coins have seen heavy wear over the years. That's why finding a 1974 dime in pristine condition is so rare. Coins that have been carefully preserved or stored in perfect condition can demand a much higher price than a dime that's been worn down by years of circulation. In fact, collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are well preserved, especially those that come from a time when minting was not as meticulously controlled as it is today. A perfectly uncirculated 1974 dime can be worth far more than just its face value, making it a potential treasure for coin enthusiasts. So, what makes the 1974 silver dime so unique? Here are a few things that could increase its value. Uncirculated condition. As with most collectible coins, the better the condition, the higher the value. A 1974 dime that is in mint condition or uncirculated is worth far more than a heavily circulated one. Coins that have retained their original shine and crisp details are highly prized by collectors. Minting errors. If your 1974 dime has a minting error, it could be worth far more than its face value. Some of the most valuable errors include double die strikes, where the design is doubled on the coin, or off-center strikes, where the design is misaligned. These errors are incredibly rare and can significantly boost the value of a coin. Low mintage coins. Some 1974 dimes were produced in smaller quantities than others, especially depending on the mint. If your coin has a rare mint mark or was part of a low mintage production, it could be worth more to collectors. Now, for the big reveal. If you've got a 1974 silver dime in excellent condition, or even better, if it has one of those rare minting errors or a low mintage variant, you could be looking at a coin worth a jaw-dropping $51,000. Yes, you heard that right, $51,000 for a single 1974 dime. It's incredible to think that a coin that's only a few decades old can be worth so much, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. Sometimes the coins that seem most ordinary can actually be worth a small fortune. So, the next time you find a 1974 dime in your pocket change or come across one in your collection, take a closer look. It might just be worth a whole lot more than you think. $51,000 for a single dime is no small amount, and you could be holding on to a valuable piece of history. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that might not seem like much at first glance, but could actually be worth a lot more than you think. We're diving into the world of the United States silver 1 dime from 2005. Yes, that's right, a 2005 dime. You might be wondering, how could a coin from such a recent year be worth anything significant? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see why this particular dime could be worth an astounding $41,000. Let's take a step back and talk about the 2005 silver dime and the context behind it. In 2005, the United States was in the midst of the 21st century, with a rapidly changing economy and ongoing shifts in global politics. But while major events were unfolding around the world, something less dramatic but just as important was happening in the world of coinage. The 2005 dime was part of the Roosevelt dime series, which has been in circulation since 1946. It was issued as part of the annual coin program, and like all dimes, it has the same familiar design, the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, and a torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. While most of these dimes are made from a copper-nickel alloy, there are special variants of the 2005 dime that are made from 90% silver, just like the classic dimes that were minted before 1965. These silver dimes are the ones that collectors are really after. So, let's explore how you can identify a valuable 2005 silver dime and why it's worth so much. The design of the 2005 silver dime is similar to the previous years of the Roosevelt dime series. On the obverse, you'll find the famous portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt was chosen for the dime because of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and his likeness has been on the dime for decades. Around his image, you'll see the words, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the year of the coin, 2005. It's a simple, yet powerful, tribute to one of the most influential leaders in U.S. history. On the reverse of the dime, you'll find a torch, a symbol of freedom and liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left and an oak branch on the right. The torch represents the light of liberty and justice, while the branches symbolize peace and strength. The inscription, United States of America, and 1 dime, complete the design. This timeless symbolism has made the Roosevelt dime one of the most recognizable coins in U.S. history. But while the design might be familiar, there's more to this particular 2005 dime than meets the eye. Here's where things get interesting. The majority of 2005 dimes are made from copper-nickel, but the 2005 silver dime is 90% silver, and that's what makes it worth so much. How did this happen? In 2005, the U.S. Mint produced a small number of special edition silver dimes as part of a silver-proof set. These silver coins are often sold in sets to collectors, and they were only available through special mint programs. They're not the standard circulation dimes you'll find in your pocket change. The silver dimes produced in 2005 have the same design as the regular copper-nickel dimes, but they are struck in 90% silver instead of the standard copper-nickel alloy. The silver content is what makes these coins stand out. Because they're made of precious metal, they hold much more value than their copper-nickel counterparts, and collectors are always on the lookout for these special edition silver dimes. So, how do you know if you have a 2005 silver dime? There are a couple of ways to tell. Weight: a standard copper-nickel dime weighs about 2.27 grams, while the silver dime weighs around 2.5 grams. Mint mark: the silver dimes produced for proof sets typically have a S mint mark, indicating they were minted in San Francisco. Keep an eye out for this mark, shiny proof finish. The silver dimes produced for proof sets are struck with a special finish that gives them a mirrored look, making them shiny and pristine compared to standard circulation coins. Now that we know the difference between the regular copper-nickel dimes and the silver 2005 dimes, let's talk about rarity and collector demand. Although a relatively small number of silver 2005 dimes were minted, they were released through special mint sets, which means they weren't widely circulated. Most of these coins were purchased by collectors or investors who were specifically looking for the silver versions. Over time, as these coins have been kept in storage or in collector hands, the value of these coins has continued to rise. Why? Because there's a limited supply of them available on the market, especially in pristine, uncirculated condition. The fact that these dimes are made of silver adds an extra layer of value, and as time goes on, collectors are willing to pay more to get their hands on these rare, high-quality coins. The 2005 silver dime is highly sought after by both coin collectors and investors, especially those who are looking to add a precious metal coin to their collections. So, what is the 2005 silver dime worth? You might be surprised to learn that a well-preserved or pristine example of the 2005 silver dime could be worth a staggering $41,000. Yes, you heard that right. $41,000 for a single coin. That's because of its rarity, silver content, and the fact that it was part of a special edition release that was never intended for general circulation. If you've got one of these in your collection, or if you happen to come across one in your change, it could be worth far more than you ever imagined. So, the next time you're flipping through your coin collection or digging through spare change, take a closer look at your 2005 dimes. If you happen to have a silver-proof dime, you might be holding on to a coin worth $41,000. It's incredible how the world of coins can hold such hidden treasures. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an exciting discovery. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.